Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. This is Urban Strike on the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis. This pretty much completed the trilogy of Strike games on the Mega Drive, and as you would come to expect, it is the most technologically impressive of the three. By this point, I think EA probably realised it was starting to milk the franchise for all it was worth. And so, yeah, graphically, again, you can see just how much of an improvement it is over the previous two games. I mean, this is an awesome looking game. And is it the best in the Strike series? Possibly. I'm always undecided whether I prefer this or Jungle Strike. It usually tends to come down to what mood I'm in. But without doubt, this is a fantastic game. Again, you've got a different helicopter to the previous two games. And again, you know, the missions, although they're sort of similar, blow this up, fetch and carry this, so on and so forth. Again, the new settings, the more varied settings as well, and as I say, graphically, it's another quantum leap on again from the previous Strike games. The one thing you couldn't accuse Electronic Arts of was just rehashing the same game. They did put effort into trying to make these games different between each one. But there's only so much you can do with the idea. If you drastically change the idea, then it stops becoming a Strike game and it becomes something else. And this really, I suppose, was the problem that they faced. What they did with this, they beefed up a lot of the helicopter's weapons. Like the chain gun now does far more damage than it did in the previous two games. And I was kind of thankful for that, because the chain gun at the end of the day was supposed to be a very, very powerful weapon on the helicopter. And in the first two games, it seemed a little bit more like an afterthought rather than an overly useful weapon. But thankfully in this one, you know, it packs quite a punch, and that means that you can spend a bit more time blowing things up and less time having to keep continuously hunting around for ammunition. You still need to do that, but there's less emphasis because of the fact that your standard weapon is better. You know, you don't feel that the minute you're out of missiles and rockets that you have to go traipsing after ammunition. The chain gun still is a pretty useful weapon to have. And yeah, the story-wise, it's based around this guy who's been buying up real estate and so on and so forth. You know, again, it's not based upon any sort of real world setting that Desert Strike was. This is more sort of hypothetical. Again, it's a bit more Tom Clancy-like. And it actually benefits from it because of the fact that you can, you know, the developers don't have to worry too much about trying to come up with geographically sensible environments and weapons and so on and so forth. It frees them up to be able to create more interesting environments for you to be able to play in, and that's important at the end of the day, that it is interesting. The problem when you have games set in the real world is that you're often restricted by saying, well, that doesn't make sense. You know, you couldn't just dump this missile silo here, or, you know, this oil rig platform there, or whatever. Whereas in this game, you can do that. The emphasis isn't on trying to be something that, you know, sort of mirrors any sort of actual world event, and that really does benefit the game. and it benefits the gameplay. It was a similar thing that Jungle Strike had going for it. But even so, I mean, Desert Strike, don't get me wrong, is a fantastic game, but I just prefer this sort of setting. Just makes it a little bit more interesting to play, and it, like I say, opens up the developers' creative abilities. It's also probably, or in my opinion, I find this the hardest of the 3 Strike games. Even though the weapon system is beefed up, the game itself is still very, very tough. And like in Jungle Strike, you can also change vehicles. You can get into a different helicopter on this, which is useful because there are missions where you have to pick people up off a sunken liner, and with your standard helicopter you can only hold 6 people. You can get into a larger helicopter. I don't know if it's based on a Black Hawk or something like that. And although it's still got weapon systems on it, well, actually there it is. It's not a Black Hawk at all. It looks like, I don't know what the hell that helicopter looks like. It looks like another made up type one. But anyway, it enables you to pick up more people, which is useful. And again, it's like the developers almost acknowledge that not everybody wants to be ferrying back and forward continuously to try and stretch out the gameplay. It plays faster, it's more dynamic as a result of it. You're not having to pick up 18 people and having to make 3 journeys to do so like you did in Desert Strike. And that was kind of like a way of bumping out the gameplay a little bit, making it take longer to do a particular mission. In this one, it's like, yeah, just go and grab another helicopter that can hold more people, and you'll be able to do that campaign a lot quicker. So I really like that. I think it's again, it's another way that the gameplay advanced itself to make the game more compelling. Sadly, still, there was a lack of an on-screen heads-up display. I'm pretty much certain that was simply down to the logistics of the console, not the logistics, but down to the console's limitations. The more clutter you have on the screen, obviously, the slower it would have ran. And I just think that they didn't want anything to... They wanted to place emphasis on better on-screen graphics and didn't want to have the hassle of the heads-up display getting in the way of things. And I can understand that. I think it is understandable. It does create a bit of a problem. Like I say, it's still gameplay-wise, you're still having to keep referring to the map, which is a bit of a pest. But as I've said in the other Strike videos, it's not a gameplay issue. It's more or less just something that you wish would get fixed just to make life a bit more easier. So yeah, that's it. That's Urban Strike on the Mega Drive. It's well worth checking out. It's a fantastic game. And yeah, thank you for watching this video, and please stay tuned to my channel for more videos coming soon. Thank you very much.